The commissioner of the Mid-American Conference joins us now going into his second football season. John Steinbrecher is the man in charge of this league, and let's get right to it. Your thoughts on what was accomplished in your first year and your goals for year two?
It was a good year, I thought. First off, we got 5 teams in bowl games again for the second year in a row. We just went through a negotiation process on bowls in which we picked up 5 bowl contracts for the first time ever in league history. We just completed a strategic planning process which will set the course for the next 5 years for this league across a number of fronts. We renegotiated a marketing rights agreement which increased the guaranteed revenue we're bringing in from that. We're announcing today a new regional TV deal that will increase basketball exposures by more than 50%, not to mention some of the promotional things that will come to bear. So those are just a few of the things that I think we've gotten accomplished in the last 12 to 14 months.
Much of the talk of the offseason in the college athletic world has been the restructuring of the power conferences and the shifts that occurred with the Big Ten in Nebraska and the Pac-10 there too. Is there a fear that that sort of stuff pushes the MAC maybe further down the list? And how do you, the man in charge of the league, try to make sure that that doesn't happen? Well,
you spend a lot of time watching it. I don't know if the fear was it would push us further down the list. I think the fear of the unknown is you don't know what's going to occur. And you're saying, what does this mean? What does this mean to people's bowl relationships? What does this mean to TV relationships? That type of stuff. And so you're trying to always project and stay on top of that. And we had a lot of conversations internally with our staff and with our league administrators and our ADs and presidents about that. What I like about the league is we're a very stable league. I don't have people with antenna up looking around. It's because we make sense for each other. We're philosophically, we're very good fits. We're programmatically, we're very good fits. A whole host of things that make for stable relationships. And so you also spend time looking for, are there opportunities that maybe could make us stronger? Doesn't mean we need to grow, but we're not opposed to that if there would be opportunities that would pop that would again, raise the bar. And there's no one answer to any of that, but you spend an awful lot of time. In fact, we spent too much time because of the stuff that was going on of the past 6 months, because I'm fielding questions on almost a daily basis from the media. Well, they're doing this and this and this. What are you doing? Well, it's not that we weren't doing anything, but I don't want to talk about it necessarily. If we do our jobs right, from a membership perspective, you'll hear about it when we make the announcement. That would be my preferred way of doing it, because I'm not sure all the churning of the waters is very productive. I don't think the last 6 months was a particularly proud moment for intercollegiate athletics or higher education. The focus was on TV households and on revenue. And you know what? That has its place, and those play a role. But the focus was a long way away from our student athletes and education and those types of things.
Numbers you can't control. 3-28 against BCS competition last year, and that ugly string of bowl losses that finally Central Michigan, in a very good football game, ended against Troy. Winning can be a cure-all, but that needs to be up. Those numbers have to get better, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And our presidents, our ADs, and our coaches are focused on that like with a laser. I mean, they get that. We're in the process with our football and our priority sports of really establishing some expectations and then developing a plan for that okay, how are we going to meet these expectations? What does that mean? How do we have to change the way we're operating, if at all, to meet these things? In the next 6 months, we'll roll that out, but that's very, very important. And you're talking about benchmarks that we're looking at and saying, okay, these folks are doing this, we're doing that. Where's the difference, and how can we bring that together?
Talked about bowl relationships, and for the folks at home, Mobile, Boise, Detroit still there, Toronto's gone. There are essentially 2 more possible bowlers, and then there are more bowls this year. Couldn't we see MAC 5 or 6 again even very easily?
You could. Well, we expect MAC 4 and 5 to end up hopefully in the Papa John's Bowl in Birmingham and the Dallas Football Classic. And also on off years, we'll kind of rotate between Dallas Football Classic and the New Mexico Bowl in essence. We're tied in contractually with the Poinsettia and Emerald, but through a shift of what occurs. If a team doesn't qualify there, the WAC will move out of New Mexico. We'll move into New Mexico. We'll have a test on this
Lots
in
of
just a
moving
little bit.
pieces, a fluid situation.
Exactly. But there are, the change in this set of bowl agreements, though, is that most of the bowls that could potentially have openings had to have backup agreements in place. So there shouldn't be quite as crazy a dash as there was last year. Doesn't mean there won't be, particularly if some schools from non-AQ conferences qualify for a BCS bowl. That will open up some slots that probably didn't have to be protected by secondary agreements.
Two things on basketball. One point, the long drought of non-two-team entrance into the NCAA tournament, that's been huge. And then the attendance figures have dropped a tad bit too. And I guess the third number there is the non-conference record against conferences of similar ilk to the MAC or higher. Those three, dare I say, are those big things on your checklist of things that need to change?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're all interrelated. And football, basketball, with any of our sports, quite frankly, in terms of marketing the program, if you want, starts with winning. Plain and simple. You got to win, and then you can help bring in all these other things. On the women's side of it as well, I think in women's basketball, one of the things we've really got to focus on, and I've got to challenge our women's coaches, you look at the women's programs, women's basketball programs that draw well, it's because that head coach has really stepped out and developed relationships with that fan base. I can shout from the mountaintops, our marketing directors can, but in that sport in particular, we need those people to step out and do that. We have to go the extra step in all of our sports, but it begins with winning.
Yeah, always a productive time. Always our fans are interested to hear what's going on in Cleveland and around the rest of the league. Congrats on good work in year one. Good luck in year two, and we'll see you in Athens multiple times.
I'll look forward to it.
Thank you, sir.